a community's internet.
Well, I mean, there was I know that a friend of mine, Ian Chen, who's also from Australia, he's debated Kent in the past, and he he got a call from a creationist trying to get him fired from his job at one point, kind of thing. So really nasty stuff from the supposedly sort of moral Christians trying to get somebody fired for a different in beliefs. And it's just, he's had to sort of come in saying, hey, these are my views and not views of my employer, kind of thing, for that reason, which is just horrible. I think he said that
people say that I'm trying to, they say I'm trying to censor Matt Powell now but they do stuff like that. I just think that's funny.
Yeah, I definitely remember having a long conversation with my department chair in Ottawa, and basically having to explain to her what I wanted to do and what possible fallout is. And she's like, we don't care. We don't have enough people wanting to live in the Yukon and basically do the work you're doing. So have at it, Haas.
And it really should have nothing to do, like if you decide to debate in private, it should have nothing to do with your professional life. But unfortunately, there are, I think Ian said it was Nephilim Free he debated. So just watch out for that one. Nephilim Free tried to get him fired. Unfortunately, there's people who are very, very petty out there. Yeah.
And Bill Ludlow too, if you are familiar with him, had a whole thing
I remember
like that.
him.
Yeah. After he debated Kent, he had a whole thing with a Kent Hovind fan.
I remember seeing that play out.
Yeah. It's too bad about Bill Ludlow. He was a good content creator.
Yeah, I miss him.
I don't know who that is. I'm sorry.
Have you seen?
Should I know who that is?
Have you seen his debate with Kent Hovind? Because it's I think it's one of the best ever. Mark, you should watch that if you haven't. But he did videos about young Earth creationists and fossils, because he was like not a professional scientist, but he did a lot of amateur fossil hunting and stuff like that. And he volunteered at a natural history museum in Arizona, I think. And he did a debate with Kent about human evolution that is considered by a lot of people to be one of the best. And his opening statement was really awesome, because he just gave the presentation that he gives to the kids at the Arizona History Museum. And him and Kent had this little rivalry going on, but he was friends with Aaron, but he sort of passed away like out of nowhere. And it's kind of interesting, because I almost have as many subscribers as he had now, which is kind of weird, because I was watching him before I even made my channel.
Right.
So it's kind of trippy to think about.
I'll certainly try and find it. I mean, I thought my debate with Kent went really well. I was very, very happy. He didn't even post it. That's how good it went.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you guys see Kent's video like that he did about me, where he was, I don't know, some people said he was kind of stroking out on camera?
Oh yeah, with the CIA.
Yeah.
That was that's weird.
Yeah, it was pretty uncomfortable, because I was like, I'm not sure how I can exactly respond to this, because it's not going to be like one of my normal streams where I just sort of clown on Kent. So I was kind of careful about what I said. But in his new video, he's back to his old self and saying that he's taking vitamins for it. So
he needs more than vitamins. He needs to see a doctor.
Yeah, I made a
team
community post about that. So
and I'm not being flippant about that. I'm saying like maybe a psychiatrist, a neurologist, possibly someone about all those B19 capsules, or whatever the fuck he calls them, that almond, the apricot seeds or whatever that he keeps eating.
B17,
right? I'm not as fluent of my woo.
Well, the vitamin specialist that Kent used to constantly talk about recently died of mysterious circumstances, but he was hooked up to a ventilator and then died like 6 days later. So nobody, I mean, it's a mystery of what happened to him. I mean, you know, he suddenly got a respiratory disease. Apparently, I guess something must be going around. I've never heard of it. I'm being facetious. He had COVID.
I know.
Okay.
Obviously, yeah.
Some of the comments I get.
It just reminds me of something from back when I was living in Calgary. There's this politician named Kevin J. Johnston. He was like this real jackass. He was transphobic, homophobic, Islamophobic. In fact, he had like a multi-million-dollar judgment against him for defaming a Muslim restaurateur, claiming that the guy was funding terrorism and whatnot. So basically, this guy decided to run for mayor in Calgary, Alberta, like the Texas of Canada.
Oh, okay.
And he got 1.3% of the votes.
Well,
I mean,
can't say I didn't try.
I mean, that's something.
Yeah. And he ran on like the anti-COVID platform.
That's a little worrying that even that many people would vote for him, you know?
Yeah, well, it's Alberta, so I think a lot of people, like the more mainline conservatives in Alberta, wanted Jeremy Farkas to win. He's like the milquetoast conservative candidate. At least, thankfully, a lot of our conservative candidates in Canada are still kind of milquetoast. Like they try to appeal to the masses as opposed to the fringe.
Yeah, same here with their sort of moderate conservatives kind of thing. Although recently we have seen the rise of sort of far right, sort of more rightish and religious right, unfortunately. But
yeah,
compared to the US, our conservatives are really tame.
Yeah, come to think of it, you're right. I mean, there's a leadership battle in the Conservative Party between Aaron O'Toole and Pierre Poilievre. And Pierre's one of the nutbags on the Conservative Party ticket.
Well, Daria, I wanted to ask you something that I think is relevant to your debate and a sort of a pattern I've noticed. Do you think that like non-cisgender creators should avoid debating Kent and these other creationists because it's sort of like they're setting themselves up almost to get a lot of shitty comments and the type of like comments that Kent makes? Or do you think they should say, well, I'm just going to do it because I shouldn't care about that. Like, you know, I have as much of a right to debate as anybody else. Like, what do you think about that? Because I'm a little bit conflicted on it.
I'm on the fence about it. And let me explain. It's a longer answer than just a simple yes or no.
Sure.
I'm of the opinion that people should make the choices that are best for them. And in an ideal world, no one should have to debate Kent Hovind. No, but since we don't live in an ideal world, it's a question of asking yourself, honestly, what am I going to get out of this? Do I have the mental or emotional fortitude to put up with his crap? And if you do, you do, and if you don't, you don't. And you know, there's no shame in saying, this is not for me. I don't want to do this. And there's no shame in saying, I'll take him on, and not feeling great about it later, because it's when an asshole attacks you, it's not your fault.
Right.
It's just not. And basically, Kent is a raging asshole, and I don't believe in restricting your life or what you want to do or what you want to think or what you want to do with your life just because of some jackass.
But at the same time, your own well-being, you have to
absolutely
protect that. Yeah.
Which is why I said in the lead up, you got to balance that, what you're able to put up with versus what you're not. And I've been in transition for actually it'll be 15 years in November. So, and I've been on the internet all that since before then, so I have a thicker skin than most. So I know I knew what they were gonna say about me. They're probably gonna make some shitty comment about my weight or my appearance or whatever, and I don't fucking care. I've heard it all before. Like, it's like, yeah, you're not judging me on the merits. You're judging me because you're a prick.
And I mean, I'm white, male, cis, and I get, crap as well. Probably not as much as you do, though. So I can sort of, I can resonate where you're coming from, but I don't think I can understand, your position exactly, because I'm not in that position at all. So I really, appreciate your view on this.
Yeah, I think that was a great answer, because like you said, there are some creators who have a thicker skin. Like me and Mark are friends with Amy Newman, and she debated Kent, and the comment section of that video was absolutely awful to read. It really irritated me reading those comments. But Amy is not really bothered by those type of things, because she, like you said, she's been online and been on video for a long time, and she's not really going to be hurt by those things. But I think it is important for to manage your own well-being first, and think like, am I going to be in a shitty emotional state after doing this? Because I think the idea of like making some sort of statement of like, no, I'm going to do it anyway, if it's going to make you feel bad, it's not really worth it. Because I felt really shitty after debating Kent for a while, and I didn't, if for a different reason. But when I debated him, he poisoned the well by bringing up the fact that I'm bi first, and I got a lot of comments from his fans who wouldn't have known that otherwise. So that's exactly why he does that type of thing, But when people go ahead.
Sorry. I don't think you can prepare for that adequately going in, because I think we all kind of understand that debating Kent Hovind or engaging with Kent Hovind in any way, or even going to Dinosaur Adventureland, we don't do it because we see value in it. We do it because of the call of the void. We do it because it's like, we know that it's going to be a shitty time. It's kind of like that urge to stick your finger on an electrical socket or something like that. You know rationally that you don't want to fucking do it. But it's like, what if nope. It's the same.
Well,
I think it's, but the thing is, I don't think, sorry.
No, go ahead, Daria. That's fine.
I don't think what you're prepared for is the after feeling. Like, I felt fucking pissed off after my debate with Kent. And it was like, this smiling fucking idiot just gnawing at you. And he's just so proud of his idiocy.
Oh yeah, he revels in his ignorance. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So essentially it's just, and I know I'm probably going to feel that way once I debate him again in September, but it's the call of the void.
So what he did to me wasn't really that, but what he did is he made me agree to stick to 3 topics. And I said to Donnie, yep, as long as it's the same backwards, and it was agreed on. And then he immediately broke it going in. I brought that up. I stated to the audience, and what I was going to say, it sort of depends on what you're after going into these things. I know that Ian Chen, who I was having a really good discussion with, he sort of said, yeah, I just want to wind him up. That's all I want to do. Yeah. That's all he's after. He just wants to make him angry, and that's it. And that's fine. That's perfectly reasonable. I like to think, as Amy Newman, who I absolutely admire, she's awesome. She says, I like to be a merchant of doubt to his audience, just give them something to doubt. But you're right. Every time going in with Kent, it's like, this is going to be rough. It's always rough. It's never, a cordial debate between intellectual equals. Like, that is not what you're going to get from Kent. I 100% agree. But what like, ideally, what would you like to see out of the debates, Daria? What would be your perfect result kind of thing.
And well, I just want people to fucking think.
Mhm.
I mean, I recognize for a fact that AJ's an atheist. I'm not 100% sure. I only met you today, so I'm
Sure, no
Jewish,
worries.
so I'm probably the only quasi-theist in the group. So, but I recognize that we can't sacrifice our critical thinking. And if God exists, and if God created our brains, then wouldn't he fucking want us to use them?
You would
Yeah.
imagine.
So essentially, it just seems, I just want people to think. I just want people to understand that not everything you were taught as a kid is right. Not everything you were taught by some preacher or whatever is right. Not everyone is acting in purely virtuous people's best interest. You just gotta think and see through the bullshit, because I think a lot of our societal ills come from people giving credence to these hucksters.
Yeah, I said in one of my recent videos that it's possible to have a religious faith and still be a rational person. They're not mutually exclusive, although I think there might be some atheists who would feel differently. But what I feel like is a problem with a lot of people involved in religion or religion itself is not necessarily the tenets of their religion. It's people who don't want to question what they're being told or don't want to think critically about the things that they're told, which religion does encourage, but it doesn't mean that you have to live your life that way in every other aspect of your life. You should still try and think critically about the decisions you make outside of just going to church, you know?
Exactly. I mean, and we see it like all throughout the spectrum. I mean, we see atheists who adopt transphobic or misogynistic views. We see groups like Lev Tahor here in Canada that are essentially cults. Let's just put it out there. Just they may be run by a rabbi, but they're cults. And essentially, you have people in the middle of backwoods Alabama that basically run tax scams, and I don't know if he's still scamming the IRS, but given the things that he says, I don't think he's on the level.
Well, we certainly know that his workplaces are very shoddy, and he still sort of takes volunteers to do work for him. So whether or not he's doing the right thing as an organization, it's really, look, whichever way you look at it, what he's doing is still pretty shady. If it's not outright illegal, still shady. So yeah, it's a weird one, whether he's still look, I don't think he's going to turn around and suddenly be a great guy all of a sudden. I don't think that's happening. And he still has to go to court for his wife, sort of his ex-wife, pushing her down and assaulting her. So there's still the domestic violence thing hanging over his head.
Yeah, I think Kent just sort of does whatever he can get away with. But I know there's some recent developments with Glenn Stoll, who is a former associate of his. He's been getting busted by the FBI, and guy has connections to Kent. So I doubt anything will happen because of that. But, you know, you never know. He could have some stuff come back to bite him.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if Glenn Stoll has something serious enough on Kent that could get a lower sentence or whatever, he might well roll over. I mean, and even if he doesn't, the investigation alone could turn up something on Kent. I mean, we only have Gary Glitter in prison because of the investigations that revealed everything about Jimmy Savile.
Mm-hmm. Did you see about Gary Busey recently, that whole thing? You know who Gary Busey is? Yeah,
I know of him.
apparently he is getting in trouble now for exposing himself to someone. I'm not sure if they were of age or not, but I'd have to Google that. But
he's a kind of sad story. He had an accident and he was never the same afterwards. He kind of there was something definitely sort of neurologically wrong with him after that. That's kind of sad. Because he used to be an amazing actor, and he had an accident and just he was sort of very very scattered and very unhinged kind of thing. Really sad story.
Yeah, he had a motorcycle accident that was pretty bad. But it says that he's 78 and he was charged with 2 counts of 4th-degree criminal sexual contact, a single count of 4th-degree attempted sexual assault, and a single count of harassment. So, I mean, it sounds pretty bad. I can't find much information about like the actual details of it, but it sounds pretty bad.
Daria, I don't really want to talk about something that may be upsetting, but did you see what Matt Powell said? And I wanted to know whether you would debate Matt Powell if that ever came up.
I would like to piss off Matt Powell personally. I mean,
that's fair.
I was willing to give Kent a certain level of the benefit, well, not the benefit of the doubt, but give him like a legitimate debate topic and not just be all like, well, if we have a species that doesn't pay its taxes, it won't survive because it'll get thrown into jail and then it won't be able to reproduce. I mean, that is something that I thought about in my debate with Kent, but I had to restrain myself from saying that because I knew for a fact that Donnie might kick me if I went that far. But having said that,
worth it.
Would I debate Matt Powell? If I wouldn't debate Matt Powell, but I would troll the absolute shit out of him.
No, that's fair.
I don't think he would agree to it in the first place because I've been trying to set up a debate with Matt Powell for a while. I asked Donnie to try that, and he's been talking to Matt Powell about it, but so far I haven't gotten like a definitive answer. So I don't think he's going to do it. But are you talking about the video Matt Powell did that had Bree in it and a couple of other people? Or is there? Okay, yeah. Was Daria in that video or no?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
That was just, it was mostly aimed at Bree. And a
couple other people that have.
What's her YouTube handle? It's about Brainbug, isn't it? Brainbug is what she goes by.
Yeah, Brainbug.
Yeah.
See, isn't that the one where he also attacks Surus?
Yeah. So the funny thing about that is that on the original video, the longer video that I showed was on a site called Odyssey. So he didn't upload it to YouTube. And when he uploaded the shorter version to YouTube, he cut out this part where he actually says that Surus transitioned because that's not true. So he cut that out because I guess he realized that was wrong. I just thought that was really funny.
But he knew full well it wasn't right, that the ROC wouldn't have cut it out.
Yeah.
But then again, they didn't cut out Kent having a mini stroke in that other video, and I don't understand why. Like,
well, that was a live stream.
It was a live stream. Okay.
Yeah, I believe that's why.
Yeah, fair enough.
So they ended the live stream early, and then they had the video up for a short period of time, but took it down. But I guess they didn't realize that they had also put that on Odyssey, which is where I found the video.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, Kent is that video is so annoying because he plays my entire video that I did about Matt Powell, which I give him credit for doing that because he never does that. He never plays the full video, but he didn't stop the video at any point and say like, yeah, I disagree with what Matt Powell said here, or I disavow this, or that's not actually what he meant, which is like kind of co-signing it, or it's kind of alarming in its own right. But he just like all the terms he was trying to say in that video, he just got everything wrong. And yeah, I don't know. It was tough. I know it was hard to watch for a lot of people, but you know, I said in that video, it's not my fault Kent got on camera like this, you know, or they let him get on camera like this, as if Kent would listen to anybody if they tried to stop him, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. he will go on camera no matter what condition or how he's in. I mean, I've seen him so many times on camera just spluttering away, and it's like, dude, you probably should, not be doing this while you've got some kind of chest infection or something. But he does it anyway.
Maybe he just subscribes to the Bill O'Reilly School of Content. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate how Zoom has this time limit now, but yeah, I'm gonna have to make a new call in 10 minutes if we want to keep doing this. So it's giving me the time warning. Okay.
Yeah,
well, sure. I'm probably I'm recording this one, so I'll probably make a video out of this call, and then for the next one we'll just be offline. But
sure.
What do you think about this whole thing of Matt Powell and Kent? They seem to be really focusing on the LGBT issues lately. Like, is there a reason for that, do you think? Or is it just they just like doing that?
I think it's just where the money is for that in the conservative movement. I mean, there's a lot of fucked up shit going on about LGBT issues in America. I mean, thankfully it hasn't reached up here nearly. I mean, there are some people, but they are largely ignored to a certain extent. But by and large, seeing my country descend into this further from abroad, I'm definitely considering renouncing citizenship. And I mean, for real, not like Kent did it and send it some letter to a courthouse. I mean, like going to the embassy and whatnot. Problem is there's a wait list, so.
You mean your Canadian citizenship?
No, I mean my American citizenship.
Oh, okay. So you live in America now.
No, I live in Canada.
Okay. So you're an American citizen living in Canada.
Yep.
Okay. I'm sorry, I was confused.
Do you have a dual citizenship, or would you have to apply for Canadian citizenship?
I would have to apply for Canadian citizenship. And I am still a couple of years away from that.
Yep.
And yes, I do know the consequences if I renounce my US citizenship before I get Canadian citizenship. It means technically I'll be a stateless person. But considering I have PR in Canada, it doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I pretty much have the same rights as any Canadian citizen, with the exception of having a Canadian passport, being able to vote, and being able to run for office.
Yep.
Are you going to run for office?
Oh, fuck no. My French is good, but not that good.
Okay. Well, I feel like whenever Kent responds to me, he seems to bring up the same thing. So I'm not really surprised in this video he did about me. But I find it kind of annoying how he showed the video and then he's saying how I want Matt Powell's channel to get banned because Matt Powell said that there are only two genders. And I'm like, I never said that in my video. Like, I don't know where you're getting that. But I think he doesn't want to actually say the real reason that I said his channel should be banned, which I talk about in the video that he showed. Kent's never really, I feel like Kent is a little bit smarter than Matt Powell because he knows not to be that direct with like his hatred, because then you might actually get in trouble for some of the things you say. He knows how to sort of obfuscate things.
Matt Powell says the quiet part loud,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, true. And I mean, keep in mind, Kent was punished for saying the quiet part out loud when he was evading taxes. I mean, he made a whole video about how he evades taxes and all this other crap. I mean, if I were working for the prosecutor's office, I would be like, well, this is going to be a piece of evidence number one, that he admits to not paying the taxes. He admits to not filing a personal income tax return in decades. And like, if you're going to commit a crime, why do it on video?
Well,
Why make a
it's
confession
interesting.
video? Yeah.
Well, I guess he doesn't think that he was doing anything wrong. I mean, that's what he says in the video, but it's interesting that that's actually not what the prosecutors really nailed him on, because I guess they knew that the structuring his withdrawals and saying that his employees were missionaries and that they were not employees, but that he didn't have to pay them with a actual physical paycheck where he would withhold Social Security taxes. I think the way that they really finally nailed Kent Hovind was there was a key piece of evidence, and that was the fact that he kept a time clock at Dinosaur Adventureland, the one in Florida. And once they saw that he was having people keep time cards, he knew that he couldn't say that they aren't employees when you're doing something like that. And he was giving them sick days and, like, you know, talking about benefits like in health insurance or dental or whatever. I doubt he actually gave them, but they showed emails that were talking about this type of stuff, all things that you would say that you would talk about if you're in a workplace environment and you have employees. You would talk about those type of things, and that's what they nailed him on instead of just income tax, because I guess they thought that they wanted something where they would have a stronger case against him.
Yeah, I guess it's a little bit easier to make the case when you're not paying someone else's income tax when they're working for you, because essentially employers have to kick in a certain percentage and on top of what the employees pay. Right. I forget what it is, but yeah, essentially, and by working for Kent Hovind, these people essentially fuck themselves over for their golden years to a certain extent.
Yep.
Well, yeah, another reason why I think they might have done that is because you know, I think they didn't want to just have Kent on the stand, because, you know, you're not going to get anything out of Kent. But if you can bring his, you know, employees on the stand and ask them questions, that's a lot better, because now you have all of these people who, you know, should have been on payroll taxes that you can interview in the court, and that they did. And on all those people basically said what they told the truth, and it was not good for Kent's side of the case.
Yeah, because the work they were doing wasn't sort of missionary work. It was, you know, carpentry and running the gift shop and stuff like that.
Yeah, bookstore.
You can't. What missionary work is that? You know,
they're bringing the news of the Lord to the gift shop
by selling souvenirs, souvenirs for the Lord. Great.
All righty. Well, I'm almost out of time here on my recording, Daria. So thank you for coming on to do this, and Mark as well.
Thank you for having me.
Always, Mark. Do you have a channel, Daria, or was this your first time being on YouTube with that debate, or have you done videos before?
It was my first time, though. I'm contemplating doing a channel eventually. I mean, I do want to get voice feminization surgery beforehand, so I guess I just have a website I need to update now that I know that it still says I work at the front desk at a hotel, but still I have a website.
Well, you can send me the link to that, and I'll put all your links in the description. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, and if you do have an email address, send it over and keep in contact. We sort of